Hello and welcome to Raju Notes channel, your pit stop for weekly current affairs updates. The updates tailor-made for students taking all kinds of competitive exams like UPSC, civils, defense and placement interviews. Please subscribe to the channel and stay updated every Sunday. The United States has shot down a suspected Chinese balloon that had flown across the America in past week. The balloon was shot down using a single AIM-9X supersonic heat-seeking air-to-air missile. US President Joe Biden faced intense pressure to shoot it down since it first appeared across the United States last week. The balloon's arrival over the United States comes amid a fraying tension between Washington and Beijing, with Secretary of State Antony Blinken calling off a trip to Beijing over the matter. In another development, the United States reported a second Chinese balloon floating over Latin America on Friday. China called the balloon as unmanned civilian airship and expressed dissatisfaction against use of force by United States. The astronomers have discovered 12 new moons around Jupiter using telescopes in Hawaii and Chile, putting the planet's moon count at a record-breaking 92. Jupiter, the largest planet in our solar system, now has more moons than any other planet in our solar system. Saturn comes in close second place with 83 confirmed moons. Ukraine and Russia traded almost 200 prisoners of war in a swap announced separately by both sides this week, with bodies of 2 British volunteers also being sent back to Ukraine. The Ukrainian President Chief of Staff Yadrey Yermak saying 116 Ukrainians have been returned, while Russian news agency cited Moscow's defense ministry as saying 63 Russian POWs have been freed. India is playing an important role in the global oil markets, buying cheap Russian oil and refining it into fuel for Europe and the United States, as per Bloomberg's report. India reportedly shipped about 89,000 barrels a day of fuel to US last month, the most in nearly 4 years, and over 1 lakh barrels of low sulfur diesel to Europe every day in January. Indian composer Ricky Cage won the Grammy on Monday for his album Divine Tides. His album was nominated in the Best Immersive Audio Album category, and he shared the award with Stewart Copeland and the drummer of the iconic British rock band The Police. This is Cage's third Grammy win. Prime Minister Narendra Modi dedicated to the nation the Hindustan Aeronautic Limited helicopter factory at Tumkuru, Bengaluru. Its foundation stone was laid by Prime Minister in 2016. This helicopter facility is the Asia's largest helicopter manufacturing facility and will provide light utility helicopters. The factory will be expanded to manufacture other helicopters such as light combat helicopters and Indian multi-role helicopter as well for the repairs and overall of LCH, LUH, Civil ALH and IMRH in future. Scientists in the United Kingdom have claimed they have created a new form of ice which is amorphous in nature. They use the technique called as ball milling, which grinds crystalline ice into small particles using metal balls in a steel jar to create the amorphous ice. The new form of ice more closely resembles liquid water than any other, as per the scientists. The naval version of light combat aircraft Naval Tejas landed successfully on INS Vikrant for the first time this week. The Indian Navy said in a statement that it was a demonstration of India's capability to design, develop, construct and operate indigenous aircraft carrier with indigenous aircraft fighters. More than 9,000 people have been killed in the earthquake that hit Turkey and Syria. Thousands more have been injured and the search for survivors is on, with several nations including India sending in supplies and assistance with the rescue operation codenamed Operation Dost. Officials said that the death toll is expected to rise. Google has announced that it will launch an artificial intelligence chatbot called Bard in the coming weeks. The new AI-powered chatbot is based on Google's Lambda, that is language model for dialogue application technology, and draws on information from the web to provide fresh, high quality responses, as per CEO Sundar Pichai. The chatbot will directly compete with Microsoft backed AI, OpenAI's chatbot ChatGPT, which has been added to its search engine Bing. The Geological Survey of India (GSI) on Thursday said that lithium deposits have been found for the first time in India. It stated that it has established lithium inferred resources G3 of 5.9 million tons in Salal Haminana area of Riyasit district of Jammu and Kashmir. Currently, India is import dependent for many minerals like lithium, nickel, and cobalt. The Indian Space Research Organization ISRO on Friday launched the second edition of the Small Satellite Launch Vehicle SSLV-D2 from the first launch pad of Satish Dhawan Space Center at Sriharikota in Andhra Pradesh. The new rocket is carrying three satellites including ISRO's EOS-07, US-based firm Antares Janus 1 and Chennai-based space startup Space Kids Azadi Sat 2. India's first indigenous advanced drone for strategic reconnaissance and surveillance will make its first public flying debut next week during the Aero India show in Bengaluru. The defense minister said that the DRDO developed Tapas BH can operate at an altitude up to 28,000 feet and has an endurance of over 18 hours. The drone will also cover static as well as aerial displays during the show. The third edition of Khelo India Winter Games kicked off at Gulmarg in Baramulla district of Jammu and Kashmir today. Union Youth Affairs and Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur declared open the games. Over 1,500 sportspersons from across the country will be participating in 9 different winter sports disciplines during the next 5 days. The sports events is being organized after the successful conduct of the first 2 editions. Jammu and Kashmir holds the distinction to have topped in both previous editions of the Khelo India Winter Games held so far.
And now for the segment where we see the events that unfolded this week back in history.
February 4th, 1969, Yasser Arafat becomes the chairman of PLO. On this day, 54 years ago, Yasser Arafat was appointed chairman of the Palestine Liberation Organization, also called as PLO. Created in 1964 at Cairo, PLO's original stated goal was the liberation of Palestine. Starting off as a terror group, PLO later gained international recognition from the United Nations as a primary representative of Palestinian people. Arafat, who was once feared and hated for being a terrorist, was awarded the 1994 Nobel Peace Prize with 2 Israelis. February 5th, 1962, Algeria is granted independence. On this day, 61 years ago, French President Charles de Gaulle called for Algeria to be granted independence. The Algerian War saw France fighting to maintain its colonial hold on the North African country and Algeria fighting for independence. In 1962, unabated violence forced France to begin with the peace negotiations. And on July 5, 1962, Algeria was proclaimed independent. However, Algeria continues to struggle with its identity. It was just too French to become Arabic by an overnight decree. February 7, 1992, a Maastricht Treaty is signed. On this day, 31 years ago, after muddling through centuries of bloody conflict, the nations of Western Europe finally united in the spirit of economic cooperation and signed with the Maastricht Treaty of European Union. The treaty signed by ministers of European Community called for a greater economic integration and common foreign and security policies. The European Union had always struggled against populism, but the world's first postmodern and superpower has been grounded by Britex. Ultimately, its future depends on its members' ability to work together.
Well, that's all friends for this week's updates. See you soon next Sunday on the same channel. Till then, take care. Bye bye.